This is Wade for the third time, and you are in Wade World because every time Wade wants you to see what's happening with the Jews, YouTube shits the bed. So we're gonna start off with a bang. No more preambles. This is Bolshevik Ukraine. Of course, it's the Jewish president, Jewish cabinet surrounded by Jews. Your post violates community guidelines. The community, a bunch of Jews. The reason Jews are insufferable and girly men are insufferable in general as rulers, and that's why they get destroyed so quickly, is because when they actually come to the forefront, no man, no regular man, even regular, not we're not talking about the exceptional masculine man, even a regular man, we can't suffer girly men. And this is nothing but a race of fucking girly men. All of their strategies are fucking effeminate, girly bitching. That's why they hate conflict and they lose any ground war they ever go into. They want others to fight for you. But we're gonna jump quickly into Twitter and just go through some of the bookmarks. First, Twitter shit the bed, like, oh no, you don't show people, please. And then YouTube shit the bed. So if YouTube's gonna give us 7 minutes to talk, all right, let's fucking talk. So we're gonna all right, unbookmark this. Don't need that shit in my Wade's bookmarks anymore. Once it's done, father was close friends with the Nathan Rothschild. Jew backed Jewish immigration into England, 1922. As colonial secretary, he pushed the Balfour Declaration creating Israel, refused Hitler's peace deal offers after France fell, 1940, led England to a prolonged, ruthlessly expensive conflict, accelerated the empire's collapse, struck caution, paid his 40,000 pound gambling debt, 1930s. Family said, my heart is full of sympathy with Zionism. Fat drunk who sold the greatest empire for shekels. Of course. Um, this is again Jewish strategy, right? They're not gonna win, and we can just say girly man because those who call themselves Jewish today are just Khazars. Like we said the last time, Jews. Jesus actually saved the Jews because he told them, "You convert or you'll be killed." So a bunch of Jews converted, the rest were killed by the Romans, and those scattered remnants are not the ones who rule the world today. These are Khazars. Because you can kill a man, but you can't kill an idea. And the idea, whether good or bad, survives. So the Khazars in the ninth century were a Turkic Eastern European tribe that converted to Judaism. They were being threatened by Russia, become Christian. Saudi Arabia become Islamic because they did everything the Jews do today. Identity stealing, baby sacrifice, looting people, finance, and fucking around with everybody, like declaring war on everybody around them. So they looked at Christianity, they looked at Islam, and they were like, yeah, you know what? Judaism, it sounds great, man. Transgenderism, homosexuality, having sex with 3 year olds. Yeah, let's pick that. And they were destroyed. So you can kill people, but you can't kill an idea, whether it's good or bad. So this is something that you can see as the nature of this reality, right? It's order and chaos, and you need to find balance. So these people are just, whether they call themselves Jews, back in the day, they called themselves Phoenicians, the same stuff, banking, usury, child sacrifice, homosexuality, transgenderism. They were destroyed by the Greeks. Before that, they were called Canaanites. They were destroyed, like I said, in the Bible, like it's in the Bible. So you can keep calling themselves different things. Maybe they'll call themselves Muse or Google be Googs later on. But the idea remains, and girly men are the ones, and the twisted guys are the ones that attracts. So anyway, let's go on. Alex Jones says Israel slaughtered 3,000 innocent Americans on 9/11. Everyone in Congress knows it. Time to declare
And what
war.
I've been told is that every member of Congress, then and now, everybody knows, everybody.
And the U.S. is celebrity, and the millions of Americans dead in World War One, World War Two, which the Jewish financiers who set up the Federal Reserve pulled Americans into.
Talks about how our government, working with Israel, wired those buildings up and blew those things sky high. And the hijackers were CIA Mossad set up. There was gas on the planes. That's what the few air calls that got through. They didn't think to stop that.
Israel on a daily basis.
Now, see, we're just going to go through all of this really quickly because if you're interested, you will find this on your own and you will do your research on your own. But here's the distinction, right? A lot of people want a distinction, want you not to notice the Jews, the biggest ones are themselves. You can call them financiers, bankers, foreign investors, Wall Street, hedge funds, the Hollywood, this, the liberals, the communists, the Bolsheviks, the Israelis. It doesn't really fucking matter, man. They call themselves Jews now for the last 6,000 years. Before them, they called themselves the Phoenicians. Before that, the Canaanites. God knows who or what they called themselves before that. Because we definitely have found evidence now, strong evidence that has been suppressed by these same Jewish funders, this merchant class, that Atlantis was somewhat real and that it was an advanced civilization, and we lost it over 1,200 years to either a cosmic event or a global war. So the fact of the matter is, the reason that you can call them anything but not Jews is because they recoil. Because at the end of the day, they've chosen this name for themselves. They could call themselves the Phoenicians. We just say it's the Phoenicians, right? Now, whether you convert to the Phoenician religion or you convert or you uh, were born into it doesn't really matter. You chose that lifestyle. So they don't want you to notice that all of this bullshit, capitalism, communism, all of this is bullshit. All of these are distractions from you to confuse you because it's the simplest thing, man. It's the fucking Jews. Like it's genetic. To these guys, it's fucking genetic. And it's like, it's not that they are particularly unique or special that they believe. It's that they have such a girly, irritating ideas of we'll deplatform you, we'll debank you, we'll take away your job, we'll take away your. So it just shows you how much bullshit there is. They're like, we'll make you famous and then we'll take away your fame. If you can make someone famous and take away the fame, that means that you never really controlled the fame. You just built it up. It's fake, it's manufactured. Take an example of even Genghis Khan was respected more than these fuckers because at least Genghis Khan, even though he murdered millions, he was a meritocrat. Like if you fought in the army against him and he spared you, he would choose the one who was the best and elevate them. Right? There are incidences of when he was actually injured in battle, kept fighting, defeated the other army, and then he found who he asked very precisely who has injured me. And there was one guy who knew that everybody would be killed at the light, so he said, I did. And he fully expected to die. But Genghis Khan was like, all right, the guts to accept it. I'm going to make you the general of an army. And that bought people's loyalty. So even that guy, however cruel he was a meritocrat. And he didn't like, you can see the bloodlust on the faces of these people in Israel who are like killing babies and shit, right? Genghis Khan did that strategically to send a message, and he did that so he wouldn't have to do that later on. Later on, his reputation did the work. Now, there's no defense of a man who kills babies and children, but there is a difference between a man who does it because he doesn't want to, but does it strategically, and a man who actually enjoys it. The man who enjoys it, there's something wrong with them. So this is just a fact. Like, you don't need to run around it. You don't need to buy into their bullshit. If they say you can't be racist, tell them to fuck off. If they say you can't be sexist, tell them to fuck off. If they say that this is anti-Semitic, tell them to fuck off. Like literally, the girly, bitchy guys throughout your life, you probably had these effeminate dudes around you, man, who were like, "Wah, wah, 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 wah." The best thing to tell them is to do fuck off. They piss their fucking pants because all of their fucking strategies are girly. So anyway, we're just gonna keep going because there's so much here. In 1290, all Jews were driven out of England. In 1306, they were expelled from France. In 1430, exiled from Germany, followed by Spain and Portugal, boycotted in Italy, and time after time tossed out of every major European city. After centuries of expulsions in 1492, Muslims opened their doors for the Jewish in the late 17th and 18th centuries as the Ottoman Empire became less stable. Guess because of who? Jews were finally allowed back into England after 366 years of total banishment. After 1848, hundreds of thousands of Jews left Central Europe to escape rising nationalism, pogroms, and the Jewish riots. All through after World War One, Britain took control of Palestine from the Ottomans from 1979 to 39. Muslims couldn't open their door for the Jewish as usual. In 2026, some Western politicians lecturing us on how to live peacefully with Jews. Read some history. Well, that was more of an overview of what happened, but you didn't really say why it happened. And you guys should look into why it happened. It usually happens because these guys fuck up the country, fuck up the currency, fuck up the culture, introduce prostitution, introduce degeneracy, introduce homosexuality, introduce transgenderism, all the shit, poison the wells. And in modern day, poison your food. They don't even have to poison your water. They don't have to poison your wells, right? They can poison your food, poison your water, poison your medicine. Your medicine is poison. So this is just pattern recognition, and you can quetch about it all you fucking want, but this is genetic, man. For you guys, there's like Jews say, like everybody else, there is no. You have to understand their mentality, right? For them, everybody's against them. So there is no reasoning with people who feel that way, and there can't be in nature. There can't be a reasoning with parasites. A parasite cannot be reasoned with. A parasite will suck your blood and kill you. It doesn't listen to reason. It can lie and do whatever the hell you want it to, but at the end of the day, it's a parasite. But the parasite does not understand that if it kills host, it will eventually die itself, or it will turn on its own kind. So there is no peace with these people. You just have to make your fucking peace with it, because if you can't make your peace with it, you're either too effeminate or too low IQ. And most of you who are too effeminate, too low IQ, you're useless. You're not making humanity stronger, you're making it worse. So anyway, Americans in 1775 not allowed to criticize England, must pay taxes to England, must send soldiers to fight wars for England, kicked England out. American in 2026 not allowed to criticize Israel, must pay taxes to Israel, must send soldiers to Israel. Funny. All right, let's see. This is just a laundry list of shit that these people do, and it's unending. That's the thing, it's like being in the Matrix, but when you've actually taken the red pill and now you can't fucking unsee it, like every fucking thing you can think of, these motherfuckers fuck it up. And like Vader said in the past, it could be anything. You can pick up anything from fragrance to food to textiles to clothes. Like you could be not at all interested in Jews, right? You could be like, why is my skin breaking out? Why are my children unhealthy? And it turns out it's because they're wearing polyester, which is basically plastic. Then it turns out you find like, who the fuck is pushing this cheap plasticky shit that is really unhealthy for us? It makes us unfertile. It messes with the hormones of babies and teenagers and kids. It contributes to cancer. You find out, you have nothing to do with Jews, right? You find out like, who is fucking pushing this? Who has basically destroyed cotton, linen, natural fabrics that had none of these problems, kept us healthy. And at the end of the fucking road, you will find a bunch of Jews who fucked it up. This is textiles. This has nothing to do with Jews. So you started here and you ended up with Jews. Same with fragrance, same with food, same with money, same with medicine, same with deforestation, like every single fucking road leads to these fucking cretins. Like they say, the end of the rabbit hole, the tea becomes silent. And this is just genetic. Like you cannot negotiate with this chaos. It is in the nature of this chaos. Like think of it like this, right? It is in its nature and in the nature of these people to do what they do. They cannot be reasoned with, they cannot be rehabilitated. That's the mistake that even Jesus made, and a lot of people throughout the centuries have made. Like, convert. You can't convert a fucking parasite, man. You can't convert a parasite and say, like, you're a Christian now. You're not a parasite anymore. No, it's still a fucking parasite wearing this dead skin suit of Christianity or Islam or whatever the fuck it is, right? So you have to understand there is no agreements between these forces of reality. You are on the force on the side of goodness, and these are on the side of evil. You're on the side of order, they're on the side of chaos. You have to find balance, but chaos will always exist. You can't reason with it. Thousands of years, man, these people have been tried to be reasoned with, expelled, 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 expelled. But the thing is, it doesn't fucking work. You can't reason with some parasite that is just going to do. Like if you ask the parasite, why are you doing what you're doing? It'll be like, I'm a fucking parasite. I'm a fucking parasite. Like they've elevated themselves to like, we're the chosen, we're fucking special. No, you're fucking not, you're a parasite. And it's like, this is the nature of this reality. They can't change what they are. Like they're unable to change what they are. But without you, without the order, without the goodness, they will die of starvation. This is just a fact. Anyway, what did Jesus call the Jews? Sons of the devil, brood of vipers, generation of snakes, blind fool, children of hell, wicked, lost sheep, faithless and perverse, synagogue of Satan, many, many more. You know, this you should know who runs your media, because anything that actually glorifies Jesus, who they crucified, and he's not the only one, but it's again, last time we talked about, it's the proportion in the race that matters. There are so few good Jews that they can't undo the evil that most of their race has done. It's just a gargantuan task. It's just the same thing about IQ. Jews hate you noticing IQ because they don't have the highest IQ. They have a high IQ in pretty much early, upper 90s. Most of the Ashkenazi Jews, which are the most important, they're successful not because they're smart, they're successful because they only help their own community first. They help their own community first. You know, it's nepotism. You would also be successful if you started a business and then you only hired your own fucking family and your own people, right? And they import other people like South Indians and all these Somalis and all these people. They only hire their own people. They don't give a shit about merit. They're like, yeah, we're gonna hire our own people. So what if we all suck? I don't care. So IQ is one of those things, and it's not just IQ that makes up a race. It's the genetics of intelligence. An IQ test, one of the biggest IQ tests, is what level of infrastructure a race is willing to live under. Most of them. Then it's high trust versus low trust. Will you get stabbed in the back at every opportunity they can, or are they okay with just trusting you and just letting things happen? Then consciousness, like are they going to follow the rules or do the right thing even when nobody's looking, or are they only going to do it when they're forced to do? These are all different genetic markers. Seems very designed. And that's why they conflate the races. Look, this is well-known fact. Even Africans give themselves their own African IQ test and realize 0.00003% of their fucking people have an IQ above 100. That means 99.99997% are fucking retarded. It's the proportion, man. That's what fucking matters. And that's what Jews do. You know, they twist this. They look at the exception. Like, look at this. This guy is so intelligent. Therefore, you should accept all of them. There's one intelligent African in a million, except the other million who will fuck up your country because they understand this is how you destroy people. It's the proportion that matters. Europeans have been evolved and adapted under the harshest conditions in the world. And this is the world. Reality is showing you the human beings become superior when they are given extreme pressure. It's the proportion of higher average IQ in them that makes them better people. Of course, they have retarded, violent criminals, but their proportion is much less. And if you don't believe it, look at poor white countries and poor black and brown countries. And it's like a fucking graph of violence. Poor white countries are less violent, and rich black countries where there are none, but rich black neighborhoods are more violent than poor white countries. We're talking fucking poverty, right? And they don't want you to notice this. Anyway, let's move on. There's just so much shit that needs to be said, and we're never going to get through this. So, Iran would be a far better ally. Of course, they would, man. Iran produces oil, technology, and food. Israel produces nothing beside rape and degeneracy. Correct. Correct. False flags also. Unprovable conspiracy. I think the world's Jewish population, yes, substantially more than 15 million, we're told. Of course it is. Of course it fucking is. You think it's normal for you to fucking inform the people who rule you